What's going on?
What's going on, Fruits?
What's going on, Josh?
There's a lot going on, man.
Tell me about it.
Rough weekend for Michigan
Sports fans?
It was a tough one. The Lions looked like absolute.
Whoa.
It wasn't good, but I didn't expect much. But it was rough.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we looked better than week one.
It was just losing in the way that they did that just really.
Losing to Kansas City just sucks.
Yeah, losing to Kansas City, they're just a team that's really easy to hate, especially when the refs make a couple.
Make a couple not things.
Yeah, and then especially after the Tigers game the night before, or was it the night before or 2 nights before?
Tigers game was Thursday, or some Friday.
I don't have any. I don't know. I don't have. Yeah,
it was a late
went
one.
into the wee hours.
It was a late one.
Time doesn't mean anything to me anymore.
Yeah, it was a tough weekend for sports.
It was a tough weekend. Michigan lost. I'm pretty sure State lost. I'm just guessing. I don't know that. But,
You're a State fan.
I mean, I'm a fan of Michigan sports, so I hope that they always win. But at this point, I'm just guessing that State is losing most games. So it was a rough weekend. I felt like Sunday night, like I was just ready to kind of be done watching football for a while because it was just such a demoralizing loss for so many reasons. But I woke up Monday ready to be hurt again.
Good.
So
good.
So yeah, it was a good weekend. We went to took the baby to the pumpkin patch.
Nice.
That was really
cool.
Fremont? Fremont, yeah. Heritage Farms. Pleasantly surprised, really, really nice. Fresh apple cider they're pressing out there. It was beautiful. They had a couple things for the kids to do. It was just really nice. Kind of went there on a whim, and I was really surprised by it. So that was really fun.
They got pumpkins there?
They have a lot of pumpkins.
I told Kristen that I would carve pumpkins this year. So
they have a lot of pumpkins.
Do the fall thing.
You got to. Yeah. It's
Normally
so
I'm like,
No, you got to do it, man. It's so much fun to do it, and then you got them on your porch. It makes the house look cooler, So you carve any pumpkins this year?
Not yet, but I missed out on your event last
That was
Saturday.
fun. That was fun.
Through, but I had other obligations.
We did it last year.
What was last Saturday?
So we do like a pumpkin carving party every year here.
Oh, okay.
And we did it last year, and only people came, but everybody brought their own pumpkins, and this year we sold all the pumpkins that we brought. So I was pretty excited. It was full of people in here carving pumpkins, a bunch of kids, a bunch of families. It was really fun.
Nice.
So we used the pumpkins we got from out there and then carved them here the next day. So
I love that.
It was a blast. Maris didn't like it as much as I hoped she would. I thought she would really be into playing with the guts and stuff, but she was kind of
just like, nah.
Not feeling it, So
try again next year.
But it was a great weekend, really nice kind of fall weekend, kind of to kick off.
Fall's finally here. Yeah, it's finally here.
Kick off October.
I'm happy about it.
But
yeah,
that's in the past now. Today we've got a guest with us.
Very special guest. Special
guest, one of our good friends, the city of Muskegon's mayor, Ken Johnson. We appreciate you coming on today. We're really excited just to kind of hear some of your past, some of your history. Some of your history with Muskegon, getting into politics, that kind of stuff. So I'd like to kind of just give you a chance to sort of give your intro.
Pretend like the people listening have no idea who you are.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. Well, it's so good to be here with you both. As you mentioned, I am Ken Johnson, mayor of this magnificent city of Muskegon, and it is a pleasure to be here with both of you. Right here in the beautiful heart of our downtown.
Right downtown. Yeah.
Loving the spot. Yeah. Loving the spot.
Still got the doors open. You can still see them out, see outside. So not too cold yet.
Hopefully they can stay open for another month and a half.
Yeah, this is great weather. Come on down here, have a drink, whether a beer, and I love the non-alcoholic options you have here, especially overgrown coffee. Yeah, that's what I'm here drinking a latte right now.
Latte. DJ made you a good one.
What you got in there?
One I haven't had yet. It's the banana bread.
Oh,
yeah. Nice.
That's my favorite. That was my baby that I put on there.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's one of my favorites.
One of my usual go-to here is the Marek. Yeah, I like that one, especially on ice. That one's nice.
For sure.
Nice. Or just get an Americano.
Classic.
But so I am mayor of this magnificent city, as I said, and proud fifth-generation resident of Muskegon, born and raised here. My father's family showed up here, came over from Sweden about 140 some years ago. 1880-ish.
Sure.
Right around that time, came over here, and we stuck around. And come from a long line of, just hard workers, salt earth kind of folks. And K through 12 graduate, proud K through 12 graduate of Muskegon Public Schools. So
okay.
Go Big Reds.
What elementary?
I went to Oakview Elementary.
Oakview
over on
Elementary.
the east side.
Okay.
I grew up in the Shelton Park neighborhood. I played Little League at Shelton Park for Gerard Painting.
Wow. Okay.
Wasn't very good at it, but I played it. And went to Steele Middle School and then off to Muskegon High School.
Okay.
And then after high school, I went away to college in D.C. and at George Washington University and studied international affairs and political science.
Wow.
Lived and
DJ.
worked there for a number of years.
Also went to school in D.C.
Oh, did he?
He went to Howard, I believe.
Oh, really? Awesome.
What made you decide that's what you wanted to do?
Yeah, so I was always interested in other cultures and other nations and going-ons around the world. And so I gravitated towards international affairs, but also was interested in government. I would... This is how much of a nerd I was in high school and interested in government. I would show up at city commission meetings in high school.
Wow.
That's wild.
And I would go
cool.
I would go talk to some of the commissioners after the meeting, and they thought I was there for school assignments. They're like, "Well, where's your form so I can sign
You're
it?"
like, "No form."
Because the government classes had made you go to there and get
Yeah.
their signature.
Sure.
I'm like, "No, I'm just here."
I'm just into this.
I'm just
wow,
here.
that's crazy.
I mean,
It makes
props.
sense now. You
So
know,
I went away. I actually participated in Junior Statesman of America. We had a club at Muskegon High School, and I was the president of that club, and then they had summer school programs at different universities. And so between sophomore and junior year, I did summer school. Again, this is how much of a nerd I am. I voluntarily went to summer school. And so I went to summer school at Northwestern University down in Chicago.
Oh, cool.
And took, government poli-sci classes there that
for you.
summer.
Wow.
And then the following summer, between junior year and senior year of high school, I went to D.C. and did summer school at Georgetown University.
Okay.
And then preceding that, I participated in close-up, but it wasn't the traditional close-up DC close-up. It was, are you familiar with the close-up program?
I don't know if I've heard of that
don't know
before.
if
No.
There's a close-up program that sends high schoolers to DC to learn about U.S. government and the
Okay.
like. But there's also another kind of corollary program that's called the Future World Leader Summit, and it would
Okay.
bring youth from all over the world.
That's
we had
cool.
folks from so many different countries in Europe and Asia and Africa and the like, and so there were just hundreds and hundreds of youth that came together as part of this Future World Leader Summit, and so I did that as a prelude right before going to the summer school at Georgetown. So that trip right there, when I did the Future World Leader Summit and then the summer school at Georgetown, that's really what solidified. I was like, I want to do international affairs. Like that's what I want to go to school for. I want to go to school in DC, and poli-sci just was kind of as an add-on. Once I got to school, and I was like, hey, I can get a second major in political science in addition to international affairs, and so that's what I did. And worked in DC for a number of years, and
what'd you
for a
do
few
there?
years after college. I worked for a global media analysis firm.
Okay.
It's called Carm International, and so we measured and monitored and analyzed media coverage for all sorts of different entities. Like my clients included Toyota North America and PPG, the glass and paints coatings company based out of Pittsburgh, and NCBA, the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, as well as UNICEF and the World Health Organization and LG Mobile. So it was like a wide variety. JP Morgan. There's a wide variety of different companies that I had for clients that I worked on. But ultimately, I moved back to Muskegon, and I was able to take that job back to Muskegon because once I was promoted to being a senior analyst there, I was like, hey, I want to move to Muskegon. I want to move back. And this was in the depths of the Great Recession.
Okay.
And fortunately, they said, okay, we can make that happen. And so I was able to come back here and manage my team of researchers and analysts from Muskegon, and bought a house in the NIMS neighborhood. And
awesome.
I like to say when I was doing that working remotely, and that was before remote work became so commonplace, I was like, I'm importing wealth into Muskegon by virtue of having a company employ me from DC, and I work here. And
why did you want to, this answer probably obvious, but why what was the driving force for you to come back to Muskegon?
To be honest, it was to run for office.
Okay.
Cool.
It really was.
So that was always kind of the goal. Or did you plan on working sort of behind the scenes in politics?
So I had worked in some local politics earlier years, and I did come back for a couple years right after college. My mother had passed away, and I moved back here for a couple years, and then I went back to DC and was an analyst, and then got promoted, then came back again to Muskegon, and I was just watching Muskegon from afar. Like I was seeing us like have these fits and starts. Like we started taking off and fall back, and started to take off and fall back, and we just were not getting that escape velocity. We weren't getting that momentum to like really propel us. And I was like, what's going on there? I mean, Muskegon's got so much potential,
and now
there's so much greatness here.
What time frame would that have been in?
So that was in. I bought my house in Nims neighborhood in the spring of 2010.
Gotcha.
And I moved back here in late 2009, so it was like, right in the middle of the Great Recession, and ended up buying the house in May 2010. Got involved with my neighborhood association. I didn't know exactly what I was going to run. I was like, no, I figured I'd probably run for something in city office, but I was like, I want to just come back to Muskegon and do whatever I can.
Just be a part of it, right?
To help however I can to move things forward. And so, there was an opportunity. I could have ran that first year I was back. I was like, no. So I got involved with my neighborhood association, the NIMS neighborhood association, and just kind of worked with my neighbors on trying to improve our little area of the city, and then eventually ran for office.
Nice.
Now, was the city commission, was that the first office you ran for?
Yes.
Or did you try other things before then, or?
Nope, it was, so 2011 would have been the first opportunity for me to have run for office at that location, where my house is.
Okay.
That was 2011. That was a ward election, and our ward commissioner at the time was Larry Spataro. Good man, served our community very well, and so I didn't have any reason to run against him in 2011. And so in 2013, there were 2 at-large city commission seats that were up for election, and initially it looked like both of them were going to be open. That neither of the incumbents were running again. And so I said, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring. I'm going to get this nominating signatures and become a candidate. And I think there were 11 of us all together that were candidates there. So we got a lot of people, a lot of interest in running that year.
Yeah.
And then
that's cool in itself.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
To have so many people run and so many people want to get involved and help move Muskegon forward. And one of the incumbents, Leah, known as Leah Markowski back then, she's Leah Willette Leroy now. But she had been appointed in 2010, I think, 2011, appointed in 2011, and so she was decided last minute to run for re-election in 2013. So she was on the ballot after all.
Gotcha.
And so I think for a while it looked like there were 2 open seats, no incumbents running. I think that part is in part why we saw so many people run, because there were just open seats. And so she ran, decided to run last minute, and it was my first campaign for myself. I'd worked on some other people's campaign. Ironically, every campaign I'd worked on up until that point, lost.
Oh, no.
And so my campaign was the first campaign that I worked on that I won.
Hey,
and
that works out.
Here's the kicker, though. That primary election, because since we had so many candidates, 11 candidates, you had to winnow it down to 4 in the primary election in August, and those 4 then went on to November, and the top 2 vote getters in November became the city commissioners.
Okay.
And so we had to winnow it down from 11 to 4, and so in the August election, you had to be in the top 4 to move on. So I took 4th place in the primary election.
Sure.
So I barely made it in there, and by the slimmest of margins possible. It literally was 1 vote.
Oh, really?
I won by 1 vote my very first election.
Yeah.
And here's the real kicker on top of that. Leah, who was the incumbent, decided to run again. She took 5th place.
Wow.
So she lost out by 1 vote. And here's the extra kicker on top of that. It was her own vote. Because you could vote for 2 people. No. She voted for herself and me. And so it was her own vote that put me ahead of her by 1 vote.
That's crazy.
In that primary election.
That's crazy.
Yes. Wow. It was wild. Just mind-boggling. So she was asked, do you want to do a recount? Because you could.
Right.
Such a close threshold.
She's like, I think you would.
Yeah. She was like, why would I? She was like, the person I voted for won.
She's like, I know who it was. That's crazy.
That's insane, actually. Wow.
What a cool entrance into elected office.
It was wild.
Cool story. So back then, I know nowadays, I really am always amazed at how much engagement there is, like especially this election cycle. Was there debates and stuff like that, or how did you campaign back then?
The neighborhood associations of Muskegon put on a debate before the primary election. And it was at Muskegon High School, and
cool.
I remember, we had table after table after table because there were so many candidates there, right up on this stage at the high school auditorium.
That probably took about 8 hours to get through, getting everybody their questions.
It was a little long debate, I think. Yeah. So we got through that, and it was good. And then went over down. I think we had another follow-up debate after that. And then back then, the Muskegon Chronicle would do editorials,
Sure.
and endorsements. That's another funny story. They so after the primary, took fourth place, went on. I ended up taking first place in the general election in November to become a city commissioner.
Wow.
And the Chronicle did endorse me and the other winner in that general election, Dan Muskegon. But the paper, they endorsed us, but the Sunday paper that announced the endorsement actually had our opponents' names listed in the headline as the ones being endorsed.
Oh, no. That's crazy.
They got the headline wrong and endorsed our opponents.
Endorsed the people they specifically didn't endorse?
Yes.
Wow.
I mean,
That's wild.
mistakes happen.
The body of the story was correct, but the headline was wrong, and it was right there on the front of the Sunday paper.
Holy cow. So how do you attribute yourself jumping from fourth to first in that?
That's a great question.
Any rhyme or reason to it?
Yeah. Kicked my butt in gear.
Yeah.
Worked out. I was
gonna
going
say,
door knocking, and
Yeah.
having conversations all across the city. And
Wow.
I was gonna say, your comment about like all the campaigns you worked on before that, you
For sure.
lost. Is that, do you learn from your mistakes in that world in that regard? Like, does that help you obviously later on?
Yes.
Sure.
I mean, those are some of the best lessons in life we learn are from failures or
Absolutely.
mistakes and the like. Yeah.
100%.
Definitely.
So that did equip me with
Okay.
some know-how, and really it was just door knocking. It was just meeting people where they're at, having conversations
Yep.
with them, understanding what their concerns are, what their wants and wishes were, and carrying that forward. And that's what I've tried to do as a public servant. Period.
Yep.
In carrying that forward, because when we're entrusted to represent our community, you need to be with the community, talk with the community, hear from the community. Because otherwise, how are you going to best serve and represent their interests?
Sure.
At any level of government, if you're not having those
Do you
conversations.
feel like so your efforts in that department? I'm assuming are well received, right? The reaction you'd get from people when you were doing that, is it what you expected, or was it more difficult than you thought it might be, or?
No, that year in 2013 when I first ran, people welcomed. Not everyone answered the door, and the people that did answer the door, most of them didn't really want to actually talk. They just appreciated you stopping by and sharing information about yourself and giving them opportunity to share their input or ask questions. You'd have focused events where people would show up and be more engaged. But going door to door, I had very, very few bad experiences.
Sure.
Back then.
I don't know if you know this, but at one point in my life, I was involved in political science. I was going to school for it, and I was working for Clean Water Action.
Nice.
In Lansing, and I had a
plug.
very, very what's that?
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. I mean, I don't know if I'm plugging in. But it was a pretty cutthroat organization to work for. I don't know if you ever had any work with them, but I had a very different experience in doing canvassing because we were going out and asking for money.
Okay.
We were fundraising, for Clean Water Action, and I mean the stuff that we endured doing that, and we were like in the kind of outside parts of Lansing, which is really rural, and I don't think there's a lot of support for clean water apparently out there. So I had a different experience canvassing, so it's cool to hear that, and I'm sure that for your experience, it probably was due to the fact that people are just excited that somebody who is trying to make a change is out walking around and
that's
not asking for money.
That's what I heard a lot back in 2013. It's like, wow, we don't really see people stop by our house,
For sure.
that are running for office. I think it's become more commonplace now. It's understood like this is a necessity.
Well, if your competitors are doing it, you should probably start doing it too.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. And it's an effective way to do it. I mean, you even if you can't knock on everybody's door, you can probably knock on enough people's door that everybody will know somebody that had spoke to you at some point, and so it is a really cool thing, canvassing, and I always tell people, like, if you haven't done it before, find somebody that you're passionate about or something, and just go out and canvass for them, because it is a unique experience to just walk around and knock on people's door
And talk to
ask
people,
them,
right?
Talk to them and ask them to listen to you and that kind of stuff. So
you get to see a fuller picture of your community.
And you're at people's homes, so people are a little bit more kind of comfortable to kind of talk, I think, or maybe not. But But yeah, I do kind of always try to recommend people that are interested in politics or a certain, a certain issue to try to do that.
Engage with it, right?
To engage with it.
I had good practice too as a kid because I was a paper delivery boy, and so I did that.
I mean, that's basically
And a lot of the folks on my route
awesome.
were older folks, retirees, and so they loved to talk.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
When I was delivering the paper or collecting the monthly bill, and I'd have so many conversations, and then I also as a youngin. When I was really young, I don't know, maybe I was first grade. I would draw these pictures, and then go around the neighborhood try selling them.
So you were
door to door, like trying to sell artwork.
That's the entrepreneurial spirit. Right there,
pretty much, it was only family members in the neighborhood that bought them from me. I think.
Like,
This is the fourth time this kid's been by. We should probably just buy one so he leaves us alone.
I'd bring around in middle school. I remember, or maybe it was 6th grade, 5th grade. Brought on a wagon, knocking on people's door, collecting canned goods for a canned good drive we had at school. So,
nice.
Going door to door was not uncommon for me at the time I ran for office.
So were you an artist? I guess I never knew that you were an artist. Have you continued that pursuit?
No.
Okay.
I was I was one that could replicate.
Okay.
So if I
got you.
could see something and I could draw it and replicate it. But
Okay.
Otherwise, like freeform artistry, that's not
your thing.
I never really cultivated that or nurtured
Sure.
that.
Yep.
Shout
moved
out
on
to
to
those
cans.
that do, because I
Yeah,
can't.
seriously.
I'm an artistic person, but not in that sense. Like,
Absolutely.
I cannot create pen and paper, ink, color, whatever.
Yeah.
Not my bag. Okay, so fast forward to your first run with being the mayor. Let's talk about the stepping stones from that point to there.
Yeah, so I served when I got elected in 2013 and then was sworn into office in 2014. I served 8 years as an at-large commissioner, so 2 terms, and at-large means representing the entirety of the city. So it wasn't
So can you break that down?
big leap from at-large commissioner to mayor in that regard because they're both representing the whole city.
Can you break down? I know for me, even I still have a hard time kind of keeping this straight. How the commission works as far as who's being represented by who, at large, and what's the other type of?
They're ward commissioners.
Ward commissioners.
So we have 7 members of the city commission altogether.
Okay.
And we have a commission manager form of government. And so it's the commission that hires a city manager, and the city manager is our chief administrator, and that's the person who runs the city day to day.
Okay.
And all employees, report up to that city manager. And so the city commission supervises the manager and sets direction. We establish what our overall objectives are and goals and the vision. And then we task our city manager and then the rest of our professional staff to execute on that and come up with solutions, and bring forward recommendations with us to approve. But ultimately, it is the commission that approves policy changes, ordinances, budgets, certain appointments at City Hall, and the like, and approving master planning too, and any zoning changes. So the manager's responsible for executing on that, and the mayor even. While technically the chief executive of the city has very little executive powers, because that's entrusted by charter with the city manager to have those executive powers. Now, there are 7 members of the city commission, 3 of which are at large. Those are 2 at-large commissioners plus the mayor. So they're elected on 1 cycle, which is this year is the at-large cycle. The 2 at-large commissioners plus the mayor up for election, and then 2 years. Separately, because there's 2 years apart from the ward commissions and the at-large commission elections. And the other cycle, it's 4 ward commissioners. And it's basically our city divided up in 4 different quadrants. And each quadrant has their own ward commissioner.
That you're represented by. So me living in Nelson, I'm represented by...
You are represented by, you're in Ward 3, you're Ward 3. And you are represented by Destiny Keener.
Oh, yeah.
Commissioner Keener.
Love her.
And the thing I really like about the fact that we have 3 at-large plus a ward commissioner is that every person in the city is represented by 4 members of the commission. 4 is the magic number to get anything done at the city commission.
Wow,
Nothing can be approved at the city commission without 4 votes. And so that is the minimum threshold to get anything approved at the commission. And so every single person in our city has 4 members
3 at large
representing them. 3 at large plus 1 ward.
That's really cool.
Cool. No, that's a cool breakdown. stuff I never knew for sure. No, that's cool.
How did your first, I mean, did you have kind of growing pains as you got into the commission?
Well, definitely was learning. Yeah. Learning curves, that's for sure.
I try to watch as much of these live streams from the commission meetings as possible, and it's clear that you have a firm grasp on what's happening. And I think now part of your job as mayor is to sort of run the meeting, right?
That is one of the responsibilities of the mayor.
And it's clear that you
chair the meeting.
It's clear that you fully understand how that all works. Was there a time, did you get on the commission, you're like, I need to learn these things?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I had seen some of the...
Did they put you through mayor training?
No.
Yeah, for sure.
That's something I've always been curious about. Obviously, I say that in jest, but I don't know.
But yeah, is there a handbook, or when you become a commissioner, is there like a set of rules that you get, or how does that?
There's somewhat of a commission policy,
sure.
Commission rules that they share with you to understand, and commission operations,
which you're probably familiar with before you take
a little
office.
bit.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if you're elected and serving the commission,
Right.
You've been paying attention to some extent,
Right.
and that you know what's going on. But they do also have you go through training. Typically, that's made available by the Michigan Municipal League. That covers like the Open Meetings Act, and the Freedom of Information Act, and the like, to kind of lay the groundwork for you to serve.
Sure. Okay.
And then a lot of it is just learning by experience.
Yeah.
It's going through the motions. Right. There isn't a class necessarily on how to serve as a commission or how to serve as mayor. Although I do have, there are educational opportunities that come around throughout the year. Different organizations may provide that you can take advantage of. But yeah, when I first got on the commission, that was 2014. Things were a lot different here in Muskegon and
who
downtown.
Was the mayor at the time?
At that time, it was Steve Goin. So he had just got elected mayor the same time I got elected at large. He was serving as mayor already, but that was by virtue of the previous mayor, Steve Warmington, had stepped down.
Oh, okay.
And then they appointed Steve Gorin, who was already on the commission. He was an at-large commissioner serving as vice mayor at the time. And so in the instances of vacancies, the commission appoints and fills that vacancy. So the commission appointed him mayor, and then to fill his vacancy, that's when they appointed Leah Markowski to the city commission back then. But when I got on in 2014, things were kind of looking bleak here, actually. Our fiscal 5-year forecast was looking like our general fund was going to be depleted, and we were, looking at potentially, on the road to insolvency. We still were trying to find our way out of the emptiness, the void of downtown, because we still were navigating from the mall closure and the mall demolition, and there were just these big sand lots downtown, tumbleweeds going down the street, and as often I would hear, it was like, you could throw a bowling ball down Western and hit nothing, because there wasn't much activity happening.
I mean, and I was out of town during this time, but I remember when specifically it was when the year that Pigeon Hill and Unruly opened. It seemed like there had been some energy, kind of grasped.
New energy,
and that was when because growing up here, it came down for summer celebration. We've talked about this in previous episodes, but there really wasn't that much.
I'll say outside of that, I don't know.
To. When I was a kid,
remember ever coming to Western Ave until I was 21, and we went to Unruly on my 21st birthday. That was honestly, maybe something outside of my memory, but I hadn't really been down here until then.
At that time, it was.
And that was in 2014.
Was it 2014?
Yeah.
2014, there was Rackets, the Arena.
Yep.
Mike's.
I lied because I have been to Fury Games growing up, but I was young,
Yep.
And then, March, I think it was March of 2014 is when Pigeon Hill opened here.
Okay.
Right here in this spot in the Nova building. And then in November of 2013, I think it was right around Thanksgiving, just before Thanksgiving, that's when Unruly Brewing opened.
Got you, yeah.
They were the first to open, and so those two breweries were that catalyst, kind of bringing this new energy to.
Well, it gave a reason to come downtown. I mean, I remember coming home to visit, and it was like, oh, let's go down there and kind of see what.
Check it out.
And I remember back then, I mean, the few places that were open down here, it was like door to door busy. It seemed that way. Maybe that was because I was back home on holiday weekends and stuff like that. But
so you were away at college at that time.
College or just
sure, but before you went to college, you wouldn't. I don't know. It's an interesting perspective because before you go to college, you're still just a kid.
Yep.
You don't really have a reason to go out and
find
a place to drink, obviously.
Yeah.
You go to college, and then you come back, and it's like this whole new world
starting. Yeah, there's a new like place to go hang out at,
right.
and like not to veer too far off of what of your talk with Ken, but what I saw with Pigeon Hill and Unruly and what I perceived is what they kind of helped do for downtown Muskegon was the main reason that I got into the beer industry in the first place. I mean, it just looked like it was an amazing business that could help revitalize, be kind of a third space. I mean, obviously we're selling something, but at the time it was still one of the few places downtown where you could just come hang out.
Hang out and also be a venue.
Live music. Yep. And so
which is very much needed.
So I remember just being amazed by that and like having a lot of pride that Muskegon had those. And I remember just thinking, okay, this is something I could see myself doing because of the effect. Because at the time I was going to school for political science, and but I just realized that it wasn't kind of the scene for me, and I wasn't disciplined enough to finish school either, But
all right, dude.
But it just was something that really, really spoke to me, and I said, this is an industry that I'd like to be a part of because of what I can see that it does, not only just as a business, but what it can do for like communities as like a new space to have for the community to have.
The different benefits that are available to the community.
The same thing with coffee shops, I think, are the same way and stuff like that.
No, we get some great coffee shops.
Drip Drop. I remember coming back because I was living in like, Lansing or Ann Arbor at the time, and great coffee shops there. And I remember coming back and going to Drip Drop and being like, oh, I can't believe this is here. Have Brooke make a pour over and be like kind of rude to me, and I'm like, this feels like I'm in Ann Arbor right now. So I just remember being so excited about that.
And that was also at the ground, the ground level.
For sure,
the early, revival of downtown and revitalization.
And
here.
he and Todd really, of Drip Drop, really offered something that was really special. I mean, he was really, really. He chose great beans. He had baristas that knew what they were doing. It wasn't just like a
throw a noodle at the wall and hope it sticks type thing. It was like an intentional.
Yep.
This is what I'm gonna bring. Yeah.
So sorry to get off track there. I just wanted to kind of
Actually, those are all great business. And then also the Coffee Factory, which isn't in the heart of downtown,
Coffee Factory,
but within
absolutely.
the Downtown Development Authority boundary, the DDA boundary. But those businesses all exemplify like that new spirit of Muskegon. Not only new energy, but like collaboration.
Right.
Yep.
So like the breweries collaborated and partnered, and then end up creating this Brewers Guild that then put on the Burning Foot Beer Festival, and Drip Drop and the Coffee Factory partnered and would promote one another, have sales promotions on one another, shared punch cards and everything, and so like it was collaboration.
Right? As you should do.
That's what turned Muskegon around, was collaboration, and not a hyper competitiveness of like I'm out to beat you or throw you. No, it was like we're going to work together to grow the pie so everyone can thrive instead of fighting over the same or shrinking pie.
Something even just earlier today when I was waiting for you guys to get down here, there was a couple sitting at the bar, and I could clearly tell they weren't from here because it's the first time in here, and I'm like, oh, like what brings you to town? They're like, well, we were down at Unruly, and they had asked if we'd been to Rake yet, and told us to come down to Rake, and I'm like, man, I love that. That is so cool.
And it's still that way, even when we were opening up, I reached out to Pigeon Hill and Unruly both, and they were both like, what can we do to help you guys as you get on your feet? And both of them remain, we're younger than them now, but we're kind of an established business at this point. But I could still call Chad at Pigeon Hill and be like, dude, can I borrow like a pound of hops, or whatever, and they would do. I know that they would have have us on that.
That's awesome.
It's maintained that same way, and things have changed so much for everybody here. I mean, obviously, but it's just cool to see that that's continued in that way, and it really is that way with most of the businesses down here. I mean, we as a business have a great relationship with pretty much everybody on Western, and like it's very collaborative. We ran out of receipt tape today, and I went over to Carlisle's.
Quit running out of shit.
I say established like very, very loosely, so but it's just nice to know that like they're not gonna say, oh no, like go to like. So it's just cool. It's a very comfortable place to have a business, and it just feels like the community, and so
it's camaraderie.
And it's like, hey, like we can all kind of put into keep growing this thing together,
Absolutely.
So sorry, that was a big tangent there, but I just thought it was kind of building off what you were talking about, and it kind of reflects back on like how that time period of Muskegon has sort of led to the time period we're at now,
Yeah, and we've just been building on it, building on it,
Yep.
and we've seen so much more sprout up and downtown, and that's spreading out across the city, and that's what I really have been liking, have wanted to see, and hoped to, and tried to encourage and support however I could, whether it's mayor or otherwise, even with my own dollars, patronizing businesses, but wanting to see that spread out across the city.
And not have
there was a lot of focus on downtown, which was absolutely necessary because that was the heart.
You have to start somewhere. Right?
Yeah, that was the heart of our community. So you had to start there and get that heart beating again.
Right.
But we wanted to see that investment and that energy and that renewal spread all across the city and benefit every corner.
And
of
I see
our community.
I see Lakeside being kind of the next big one. It seems like to me, that seems like it's got its own identity already. I mean, all the different neighborhoods have their own identity, but Lakeside is like a business district. Has a really nice identity. And so like in that same vein, we recommend people from out of town to go places, and obviously Pigeon Hill and Unruly, but my thing is always if you're just downtown, make sure you go to Lakeside because it's a different feel than downtown, and if you're not from here you might not know to go check out
you wouldn't know
that kind of stuff. Really. And so it's really cool to have not just one, like you were saying, not just one central this is where everything happens and nothing happens outside of this, and so...
and like you said, the different areas have their own unique identities, and that's what we need to preserve and promote and grow and then work to connect and complement. Because we don't need to try to recreate downtown in Lakeside necessarily. Lakeside can do its own thing and its own terms. Similarly, we don't need to turn Pure Marquette into downtown or the Navy Pier or something like that. No, let Pure Marquette be Pure Marquette.
Yeah,
we can have reasonable commerce there that's going to cater to beachgoers and our visitors while still protecting and preserving our natural assets and the beauty of Pure Marquette.
Yep.
And so the thing is, how do we promote and complement and connect? And that's why I'd been advocating for so long to have that a shuttle service, a shoreline shuttle service that connected all of these different neighborhoods and commercial districts along Muskegon Lake. And so thankfully we got that done this year and got both a shuttle from just east of downtown at Smith Ryerson Park in the Jackson Hill neighborhood. So it would pick up there, then it would come through downtown, then it would go through Campbell Field, then Lakeside, then Pure Marquette and back. And it just was a continuous loop Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then we also had one at the beach that connected all the beach parks. From Cruzy Park to Beechwood Park to Lake Michigan Park to Pure Marquette Park to Margaret Drake Elliott Park and to Harbortown Beach.
I didn't know about that one. I didn't know about that.
That was the tan line. No. Yeah, that was the tan line at the beach. The blue line was the one that connected all the neighborhoods. And then there was the flip-flop station where you transferred.
Okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
From one to the
really
other.
Cool thing. I remember seeing the announcement kind of this spring was when that was announced, right?
This was our
just
first
thinking,
year.
That's one of those things that can really help to kind of spread the money around that's coming into town. Tourists that might just planning to come to one spot say, I can easily jump down, not to worry about my car or whatever it might be. It could help them. We'll go check out the other spots and spread. Do you feel
like they've been well utilized?
So it was our first year of that pilot, and we've been encouraging people. We encourage people to use it and then give us feedback.
Sure.
Because we want to improve upon it. Yeah, absolutely. And we're all about continuous improvement.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to get that feedback to then inform how we can do it better, what we can do differently. For next year, because we definitely want to bring it back next year.
Yep.
But we're able to make that freely available, and it's cool. To benefit our community, so more of our community can get out and about and enjoy the different areas.
Things of the city.
Yeah. But also, like you said, accommodate visitors to our town.
Yeah.
And they might be coming downtown for this, that, and the other, and they're like, wait. Let me go check out Lakeside or elsewhere.
Does the city still have a trolleys trucks?
So that was the county. The Muskegon Area Transit system had the trolleys, and they got rid of the trolleys probably about a decade ago.
Okay. I remember riding them when I was a kid and thinking it was really cool.
You didn't ride them in high school when y'all got in trouble for whatever you got in trouble for?
I don't know. I can't talk about that anymore.
All right, yeah.
Statute of limitations is still out, So no.
All I know is you effed it up for my class because I was a grade behind you.
Oh no. Again, I can't confirm nor deny.
Plead the fifth, eh?
But I do remember as a kid riding on those things. I thought it was so cool because I think it was like 50 cents or something like that, and so.
Yeah, so definitely check it out next year.
Okay,
and give us your feedback.
Check it out next year. Feedback. Yes. We need it, Muskegon.
Absolutely.
Keep it rolling.
But that's also about access. We talk about, and that's been something that we hear a lot about in the community, and something that's been something that we discuss and emphasize too at the city, at City Hall and amongst commissioners is access to our natural resources.
Yep.
And so it's not just about having
right.
Waterfront property that you can go to. It's about how do you get there and enjoy it, and then also the level of quality, because we actually have nearly 100 acres of city-owned waterfront property on Muskegon Lake. And then there's another 80 to 90 acres owned by the state and the county, some of which is managed by the city, that's also publicly owned and accessible. And so you're talking about nearly 200 acres. Not all of that is in the highest quality of state.
Sure.
And so we need to look at investments to enhance the quality of public access, not just expanding the acreage of it. Although certainly look to how opportunities to expand that when we can, and also green space preservation, natural vegetation space, instead of all turning it all into parks. We'll certainly welcome more parks.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
It's also transportation is a component of that access, but also the wayfinding signs that we saw added this year. That was something else that was I had pushed and advocated for, and that came out of the Muskegon Lake Watershed Partnership. I'm actively involved with that organization and participating in the Public Access to Natural Resources Committee that they have, and so they were pushing for these wayfinding signs so that people knew how to get to the public access sites.
So it kind of goes into my next question is like, you have the resources. The next level is access to them. The layer beyond that is the knowledge of the access to those things, right? Or the knowledge of how to get around. Is that a difficult task for you guys to figure out how to convey that to the masses? Because like, you have social media and you have things like that, but not everybody's on there. Not everybody's
following the city of Muskegon government on Facebook.
Is that something that's like a conscious topic? Like how do we make sure everyone is aware of these things?
Yeah, that is very important, and it was a priority of mine in running for mayor in 2021 was improving how we communicate and how we engage our community.
Sure.
And so my first year as mayor, we established a community engagement unit within the city manager's office. And we ended up hiring for that position Deborah Santiago-Sweet. She's a resident. She does phenomenal work. Her and her team doing great work. And it's not just on social media. So like
I choose that as an example.
Oh yeah,
it's the low-hanging fruit.
Oh yeah. But I'm saying to build on that, they have they do utilize the social media channels, the website, but also going back to kind of old school print media.
Sure.
So like a print newsletter.
Yeah.
We just had
a community newsletter goes out every fall and spring now to every single address in the city of Muskegon. They do an e-newsletter too every month, so that's available. You can sign up for it.
Well, yeah,
and then we do a print newsletter to help our community be aware of what's happening in their city and opportunities to get involved and participate. And so, you mentioned like how do we get that information out? Because we did comprehensive master planning, both master planning for like zoning and land use, and then also specifically for parks and recreation.
Sure.
And both of those entailed needing to go out into the community, not just say, hey, show up to City Hall and talk to us. Like, no, we went out into the community, on the ground, talk to people where they're at, about, and all variety of people, from residents to business owners, educators, property owners, and just a wide array of folks, park users, visitors, to distill all of their wishes and wants and dreams into a plan to guide us going forward, so that we can deliver and create that community that they would like to see for the next generations to come. And community engagement is critically important, and so Deborah and her team have done phenomenal work and been really instrumental in helping to invite our community into being active participants in their own government.
Yeah, sure. And I think that's something that, I would say during your term as mayor, I've seen that like there's this huge emphasis on we are going to engage with you anytime we get a chance to. We might not do exactly what you ask us to do, but we're going to hear you out, and we're going to be transparent about why.
Which is huge, right?
Yep, and we're going to try our best to be as transparent as we can about the decisions that we make, and that's something that I have really appreciated as your term as mayor. That I think to me it didn't seem like it had always been that way, and so. And I think you can see it everywhere. I mean, I think you look, I was like watching the commission meeting the other day. It was like 170 people watching it on Facebook Live. And I'm like, I don't know if there's like a lot of cities that have this many people that watch their like city commission meeting, you know, or whatever. And so I always think that that's the coolest thing. And like, everybody has all of these opinions, but it's just cool that they can be engaged and have the leaders of our city encouraging that engagement and not saying like, yeah, sure, like, you know, write it down and we'll put it in a box somewhere or whatever, you know. And so that's been something I really, really appreciated about your term as mayor so far. And
that ability to watch and witness is critically important for accountability. Because you need to know what's going on to hold us and government accountable.
100%.
And so if we can make it available, not only on Public Access Channel 96, but live stream on Facebook and on YouTube, additional ways for people to watch and see what is happening. We also, during my time as mayor, added planning commission meetings to be available and live streamed on Facebook.
Yeah, because there's a lot of important things that happen in those meetings.
Outside of the city commission, the planning commission is the most important body.
And it's cool because like I won't even really seek it out most of the time. I'll just be scrolling Facebook and it will just pop up and I'm like,
that happened to me the other day.
I'll sit there and watch this now, you know.
I admittedly, shamefully didn't even know that those did get live streamed. And I tuned in for the first time.
We've also added, because we can't live stream every single meeting that happens in City Hall. Like we do the City Commission and the Planning Commission, those are the two most important bodies there. But like we have the Downtown Development Authority and the Citizens District Council and the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee and the Board of Review and the Housing Board of Appeals and Lakeside Business Improvement District. We have a lot of different other subcommittees or commissions and boards. And so we can't necessarily live stream every single one of them. However, something that we have made available is you can request virtual access. If you cannot be there in person, those are all public meetings, so you can show up in person if you want. But not everyone can get down there and be there in person for whatever reason. They've got busy lives. They're parents. They're working multiple jobs. They might be out of town. They can request access virtually to those meetings, and we'll set them up with that. And also, something that I advocated for, we were able to do in my first year as mayor is add in a phone-in comment. So you can call in.
For sure.
That's
again,
cool.
Busy lives.
Right.
Yeah.
Which we all understand.
100%.
We had someone at our last commission meeting take advantage of that, and he was at work. He couldn't be that person. He was working a shift, and he was like, I've been trying to watch this. I'm calling in right quick to give my input.
That's amazing.
Good for them.
Very, very sure. Very cool. So great job to you guys in the city for that specific thing. I think is just a very cool thing, and I hope people understand how lucky we are to kind of have that level of access to our city government and have it be encouraged, you know. So something that I find cool.
There was a little bit of trepidation about that phone-in comment at first. By some folks that are like, whoa, what are we going to get out of this? And even some of my fellow mayors around the state were like, why are you going to do that? Now you're going to put pressure on us to have phone-in comments.
Well, is there a level of screening involved there, or you are just bound to the elements of being live?
That's cool.
I mean, props.
But it's also trusting your constituents, you know, to take it seriously and not call in, prank parts or something like that over the phone or something like that, you know. So
and our community hasn't abused that.
Or we jinx you there.
Don't do it. No prank calls, please.
Let's. You want to move on to the current election cycle where we're at today? You want to touch on anything else before we get?
I mean, you know, I think that to me, like the first time you ran for mayor was an important thing for me, just because of kind of the political scene in Muskegon at the time. So I kind of would just like to hear kind of how you kind of got through that. You don't have to talk about it for a long time, but you know, it was a very close election. I remember being at the watch party with you guys' team over there, and it was I remember it was on the counting every vote that they were getting in, and it didn't know how it was going to go until it was 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock.
Oh no, it was even 1 in the morning. I think.
Past midnight. Jackie was like, "What are you? You're at this. You're at this thing. Why are you out this late?" You know. So.
And the media misreported it at first because.
Oh, that's what it was.
They were 99% of the results were in, and it said that I had lost, and so the media were reporting that the incumbent had won and I had lost, and so I was getting phone calls from some media like, "Well, what is your concession? What do you want to say?" And I was like, "I'm not conceding. I haven't lost." I was like, I know there's still votes outstanding.
So
it's like just hold up.
Close. It was cool to be just
not one
there
vote close, but
not one vote close.
It probably was less cool
like
for you
about
to be that
2%, but on vote total, I think it was like 130 some votes or whatnot. So
sure,
fairly close. But we pulled out, and I even had people had an election night party at the CIO hall, and I had some folks leaving because they thought it was over. And I was like, hold up, don't leave, stay. I was like, I know that there are more votes coming in.
I think I got there late. I think I got there after like people had left, and they're like, no, hang out, like something else is gonna happen, So it was cool. There was a lot of really cool energy around that. That was like when I was first interested in politics. That was the thing that I was drawn to, and it felt like you were like kind of like a long shot, and maybe not really, but like it kind of felt that way because
the establishment was against me.
The establishment was
very, very much the case.
Yeah, and so it was for me. It was very cool to see. First of all, like that I live in a place that can support somebody who is going against the establishment. And because I'm like I tend to like kind of follow that direction anyways, and so. Yeah, it was just a cool thing, and I just kind of like a quick kind of recap, I guess, on that. I don't know, like if that's too open-ended or not, but.
So I had already served 2 terms as an at-large commissioner, and I knew that I did not want to serve a 3rd term on that commission with the same dynamic. The dynamic needed to shift. While we were doing good things, and I was proud of the work that our commission was doing, and I think everybody involved at City Hall was serving earnestly and the ways that they thought was best
for sure
for this community. But there were some aspects that lacked accountability in my assessment, and there were other things that I wanted to bring change to and advocate that was not getting traction in the previous dynamic, and that's why I was like, okay, I got to shift.
Opportunity, right?
I got to run for mayor.
So this is what spurred you to actually run for mayor instead of staying on the commission.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And wanting to ensure that accountability, wanting to improve that transparency, wanting to strengthen community engagement, wanting to give our community greater agency over their own government and influence over their own government and involvement with their own government. While of course had other priorities, around reviving Parks and Recreation Department and more investments in our fire protection services and housing and a number of other different areas. But I knew also that I wasn't going to run for mayor unless I knew that someone was going to run for my seat, because there was going to be an open seat by me. Not running again for at-large commissioner and choosing to run for mayor, I was going to that open seat. And I wasn't going to run for mayor unless I knew someone was going to run for my seat that I trusted, that I knew had similar values, and that I could work well with. And so I had reached out to Rebecca St. Clair and sat down with her. It was at Wonderland. And we sat down with her, and she thought we were just meeting because I was going to ask for her support or endorsement, for me to run for mayor. And I was like, hey, have you ever considered running for office yourself or serving? And she's like, no. And I was like, well,
I got an idea for you.
Yeah.
Hear me out.
Hear me out.
At first she was a little reticent, and she, reflected on it more and talked to her husband, Tommy, and then she's like, yeah, let's do this. And so we worked very closely together, our 2 campaigns in 2021 to get elected. And we had some headwinds, not only the establishment like you're talking about, but we had folks funding a dark money group out of Lansing to insert and influence this election in 2021, to put out hit pieces against me and Rebecca, to put out puff pieces for our opponents. They couldn't explicitly say vote no or vote against or vote for, by virtue of them being the dark money group. I think it's a 504C status or something. I don't know. I don't remember the IRS status, but it's a dark money group that they could hide. They didn't have to report where they got their money from, and they didn't have to report how they spent their money, so long as they did not explicitly say vote for, vote against, elect, don't elect. But they could say terrible things and about some folks and nice things about other folks, and that's what they did.
I remember getting those in my mailbox, and I'm like, what? I've never seen this type of thing in like a local, in like Muskegon's local election before, and it was just another thing that I was like, if these people feel like this needs to be done, like I don't know if I support the people that this is supporting, you know.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of at that time.
What's really interesting about all that too is that once I got into office, I ended up learning through various sources who some of the people were that funded that dark money group. Some of the local interests,
I can imagine.
parties.
Sure. Yeah.
And then had to work with them. I mean, I didn't have to. I could spurn them and say, I'm not going to work with you, but that wasn't about moving Muskegon forward. So it's like, yeah, you opposed me, that's fine. You know, you actively worked against me and funded, you know, this dark money, that's fine.
You said terrible
but
things
if we can find ways to work together to do good things, it's not about
mission,
it's not me about having to like you. It's not even me necessarily about trusting you. As long as I can trust any agreements that we have or commitments that we have, and can ensure that they're being followed through. Like that's what matters. So I'm going to work with you, and you know I was very magnanimous. Some of those folks and sought to work with them, and we've been getting stuff done. We've been making great progress on a lot of different levels here in Muskegon. Now, is it perfect? No.
I remember you talk about like the establishment sort of being against you. I remember like getting like text messages and phone calls from like other business owners in town that were like, you better stop like supporting Ken, dude. Like he's like the town is gonna burn. I'm like, what are you guys talking about?
You got threatened.
I did get threatened.
You did get threatened. We won't go into too much detail on that, but you got threatened.
That was
for supporting me.
Yes, it was.
Wild times, holy.
It was wild, you know. But it was like, man, this feels like so weird. It feels like something that happens like for the president or something like that, you know. And I feel like this is such this like. I'm like, it was people that I didn't really know that I just had my phone number that are texting me like, hey, like I heard you're supporting Ken, but like, just know like you don't know the whole story. The city's gonna fall apart, you know. And I'm like, I don't think so, Ken. It seems like a really smart guy, you know, like
look around.
Look around.
Look around.
Because that was the narrative 4 years ago. It's like, all this progress is going to come to a halt. All this investment is going to dry up. We're going to fall back. We're going to regress, and like this is going to be, you know, the death knell of Muskegon's momentum. And that hasn't been the case. You know, it's not only continued, but it's quickened, and we've seen over $400 million invested in the 3 prior years, and I'm not even including this year.
Wow.
In the 3 prior years, because we're seeing, you know, nearly that much, if not more, being invested now and committed, you know, in the next few years. So we're seeing huge amounts of investments in the city, and it's spreading across the city. Last year we saw a record number of building permits this century in the city. We're seeing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of new housing units being built across the price points from low income to luxury and everything in between, owner occupied and single family. We've done significant zoning reform to create new housing opportunities and flexibility. And so we've been laying the groundwork for not only continuing the momentum and growing the momentum, but seeing more equitable investment as well. And so what's wild to me is some of those folks 4 years ago who were fear-mongering and said, oh, the sky's gonna fall and, you know, this is all gonna stop. In spite of them recognizing the progress we're making and that their worst fears didn't come to fruition, they're not supporting me now. So
that you've gone out to work with them, and I've
been willing to work with them. Some of them they've come around like, oh no, I was wrong, you're doing great, but there are some of them that are like, nope, they're like they still want to change because
people refusing to admit they're wrong. Is a huge, you know what I mean? Like,
or it's just personality. They don't like me for whatever. That's fine.
Sure.
People are not going to like me for a lot of different reasons, but it is what it is. But just because you don't like me doesn't mean I'm not going to work with you. Right. If it is for the betterment and benefit of our community.
Yeah, sure. And that's where I think like I've seen you work with some of these people that like I think the people who are some of the most vocal supporters of your like first run might be upset and say, well, why is Ken working for with these people? But I think of that as like that's the best case scenario. Is like that's why Ken was elected in the first place, was to work with these people and continue the growth that we're seeing, but with the additional transparency and like kind of, you know, more equity, I guess, you know, that I know I was hoping for. I know a lot of the people that that were kind of involved with really, you know, being behind your first campaign were really hoping for. And so, you know, I think that to me that's a huge sign of a good leader, is somebody who can like maybe work on something that might not be the most popular with his base, you know, or whatever, but that it's like still for the greater good of the community, you know. And so I mean, there's been huge developments in Muskegon that are controversial, and the city is has supported those and has done its job, to kind of usher them in and stuff like that. So,
and find improvement where we can, and incorporate what the public wishes.
For sure. Because I think everybody agrees that we want to like keep moving forward, but like how does that happen is kind of where where things sort of everybody has different opinions on.
Yeah,
So
and we're kind of at a crossroads right now.
Yeah.
In terms of what the next phase of Muskegon's progress is going to be, and this next era of prosperity, like where are we going next? And a lot of it is surrounding the waterfront. Now that we have been delisted as a Great Lakes Area of Concern, which for reference, that was added in 1987. There were, I think it was 41 or 43 water bodies in Canada, the United States, the Great Lakes region, that were identified as the most polluted water bodies in the region. And so Muskegon Lake was one of them. Okay. White Lake was another one. So we had two in Muskegon County.
Jumping into Muskegon Lake was like, it was like a crapshoot when we were kids. It was like, you might come out with a rash or you might come out, something. But so to be able to just jump in now and not have to worry about it is amazing.
We were almost afraid of the lake back
for
then.
sure.
And
I remember my mom like, don't go
away
to Muskegon Lake, and so.
And now we are seeing. Now that Muskegon Lake is cleaned up and restored, it's not pristine. We still have work to do for continued restoration. And then I'm leading the charge in getting a watershed management plan done as well to be vigilant in protecting it going forward from some legacy contaminant issues as well as emerging issues with it. But now with the restoration of Muskegon Lake, we're seeing all that energy and interest and investment gravitating towards the lake now.
For sure. Yep.
And so given that, it needs to be managed well. Because you heard me talk about in 2013, 2014, things were kind of looking bleak, and our fiscal forecast was looking like not good, and it might be insolvent and so on and so forth after a few years. Back then, it was managing dying pains. Today, it's managing growing pains.
For sure. Yeah.
It's much better to be in a position to manage growing pains than dying pains.
Absolutely.
And so, as we're seeing that, it's like, how do we help ensure that Muskegon Lake and the development that we see around it and access to it is done in a way that is going to be beneficial to the full spectrum of our citizenry. And at the same time, not spurning some of these luxury developments that are higher end. Like, no,
for sure.
The average Muskegon resident cannot afford a condo at Adelaide Point or one of those new builds at Brilliant Shores.
We should have it.
But it's important to have that wealth at the same time. Because that wealth then circulates.
As long as it's not like stamping
businesses.
out. As long as it's not like stepping on a.
As long as it becomes so domineering and controlling.
Like, you can't have. What? I don't know. For me, it's like. What other kind of housing would you put there? Obviously, it's going to be luxury housing, right?
Although I would love to see affordable housing.
No, sure.
That would be amazing.
on Muskegon Lake, and I've been advocating for that because I do not want Muskegon Lake and the waterfront to be monopolized by the wealthy and the well-to-do. And so I've been trying to...
Is that possible then?
Well, I've been advocating to get low-income housing tax credit supported housing on Muskegon Lake.
That's awesome.
The dilemma is, though, that they don't score well enough. They've got this rubric in terms of how they allocate points to then decide who gets the low-income housing tax credits, because it's a highly competitive process to get those LIHTC awards. Sure. And we have been doing well, our city. Our development services team, led by Jake Ekholm, is doing great work.
Jake, the man.
Attracting developers, working with developers on their LIHTC applications and getting them approved. So we are actually second to only Detroit and the number of LIHTC awards we've received in recent years. So we've been leading the state outside of Detroit, and we are definitely not second to Detroit in size in the state.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Not even 20th in size. But we've been working so diligently and proactively that we've been able to succeed in that regard.
Awesome.
Now, the dilemma is the program is still not set up so that we can see that kind of development, lower income housing, affordable housing right on the waterfront. And so I did have a conversation. Our Lieutenant Governor, Garland Gilchrist, was in town just a couple weeks ago, and he was visiting a lot of the housing developments that are happening in Muskegon. And he was really blown away at how much housing is happening here, the different programs we have and partnerships we have here. And he was really happy to see that. But I had a conversation with him. I was like, we really need to figure out a way to support low-income housing and mixed income housing too. It shouldn't just be low-income housing. We need to have socioeconomic diversity, a variety. And so how do we get more of that and support that on and near a waterfront? Because we want to see that socioeconomic diversity.
Yeah. I had no idea that was even possible.
Yep.
So that's cool. That's cool to hear. Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, I think... go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Just one more thing I was thinking, too.
That's why you're here.
So I'm actually involved with the Great Lakes St. Lawrence Cities Initiative. It's an organization throughout Canada, the United States, and First Nations and tribal nations and municipalities. And there's about 350 members right now. Joined that a couple years ago, been actively involved, was elected to their board of directors this year. And so that organization, along with a lot of other organizations, have advocated and lobbied for federal resources to clean up lakes like Muskegon Lake and get off delisting, and being able to get the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative funding. And so we've been successful, and we've seen over $80 million invested in the cleanup of Muskegon Lake.
Wow.
Those are public dollars. Now, the thing that I've been advocating for recently about that, because there's still a lot of communities that need those dollars for cleanup, and we certainly would welcome more still. We might not see as much because now we're delisted.
Sure.
However, what I've been advocating is that there are stipulations attached to that funding that, or some of those dollars earmarked and separated for public access and affordable housing. On there, because what we see and what has happened to an extent here, and we need to be vigilant against, is these public resources, whether coming from the state or federal, going into cleaning up, whether it's contaminated land or the water, and then you're seeing for-profit developers bank on it and benefit from it. Now they're putting in the money to invest and develop. That's great, and they should be able to get a return. But given the amount of public resources that went in to clean up and restore the property in the waterfront, it's important that we're building in from the get-go the public access and ideally an affordability component as well for housing.
Sure.
That's the way to go, and that's what I was advocating to the Mount Foundation. I was there in Flint last month presenting on Muskegon Lake's cleanup and restoration and the importance of those federal resources. And they are a key advocate in supporting, they're a key supporter and funder of organizations like the Great Lakes St. Lawrence Cities Initiative and the Healing Our Waters Great Lakes Coalition and others who are advocates for our waters. And I suggested to them that as part of their funding and advocacy is they should also push this public access and affordability component. And one of the gentlemen that works on staff there, he's in the environmental division of the Mount Foundation, said, hey, I was having a similar conversation in DC as part of the Potomac cleanup, and that they cleaned up the Potomac, all these dollars went into cleaning it up. We saw all this private investment and development pop up. And now we're talking about public access after the fact, and he's like, it is a whole lot more expensive to secure public access after you've seen all of this investment and property values go up, and that's why he's like, it's really important that you do bake that in early on and from the get-go.
For sure.
Yeah. Wow.
Sorry, I get long-winded.
No, don't be.
That's another thing
that's
that
why
I
was excited to have you on.
Yes.
For my own just knowledge sake. I think it's
Yep.
cool.
That was one of the reasons we started this podcast.
Sure.
Eric and I was like, one of the things that like him and I see a lot is that there's just a lot of conjecture, but like very, very small snippets of different information. So it's really cool to be able to hear like straight from the horse's mouth, the full explanation, and so.
Thank you for breaking that stuff down.
I'll go ahead, you guys.
No, you're good.
Yeah,
Come on in.
Absolutely.
Camera's pointing this way. So.
Yeah. So I mean, if you want to go into now, like that we can talk a little bit about kind of the current election. You're running against my neighbor, Bob Garrison.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know he was your neighbor.
Yeah, kitty corner.
Yeah, just around the corner. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
I honestly I've only met him I think maybe twice, and both of the times he was knocking on my door. And so I don't really know much about Bob.
How long have you lived in the house?
We've been there. We bought it in 2020, right before things got crazy.
So you moved in a year after him because he bought his place in 2019.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, it's a cool neighborhood. But kind of interested to hear your take on what's going on now. What's your major thing that you're running on? that type of thing, and
Yeah. So I've known you, Bob, for a number of years, even before he moved into the city, because we worked for the same firm, affiliated with the same firm downtown.
Oh, okay.
It was actually his mother-in-law who introduced me to the firm, and I was like, hey, you should consider making a career change into financial planning. And so I looked into it and pursued it and did the training and education and testing and ended up getting licensed and ended up joining that firm.
Where do you find the time?
that's
the thing. I was like, commissioner and mayor is not full-time. It can take up a full-time job, but it does not pay commensurately. I get my average compensation is less than minimum wage. That's the federal minimum wage. But so I made that career change. So I've known him for a decade, actually.
Wait, I thought you guys were all just stuffing your pockets over there, man. That's what I heard.
So I've known him for about a decade. And I had always found him as a nice, affable man, calm demeanor, seemed caring and intelligent. But we never had any conversations about government. He'd never, had any questions or input or concerns or ideas to share with me about local government or city hall happenings. So I was kind of surprised to see him run for mayor this year. Like, wait, where did this come from?
Sure.
I think I'd seen him at one city government meeting in my 8 years as a city commissioner. I don't think I saw him during my time as mayor until he decided to run for mayor. Then he started showing up more. But I'm running for re-election, and I appreciate that he's running. I think I really appreciate John Allen, who ran in the primary. I think it's good to have competitive elections. Competitive
People
elections
being engaged
are
is always
healthy
I was gonna say,
for democracy.
To see people interested is the best part, right?
Yes.
People that want to be engaged.
Yeah, and I really appreciate John Allen's passion for why he ran, and it was really rooted in authenticity, which I appreciate and respect.
Yep.
And so I'm grateful that he ran, and I'm grateful that he's a passionate advocate for Muskegon.
Absolutely.
And I fully, now to this general election, and I've got one opponent now, Mr. Garrettson, and I'm fully expecting to prevail on November 4th. It's not necessarily going to be easy. He's very well funded.
Sure, absolutely.
And he's going to be outspending me. But I got outspent 4 years ago. In direct expenditures, more than 2 to 1, and indirect expenditures, when you add in the dark money group, it was more than 3 to 1.
Wow.
So I was outspent considerably 4 years ago.
Sure.
I expect to be outspent this time around. I'm hopeful that, and my campaign, I'll be honest and admit, has not been as robust as I would like it to be. And part of that is because I don't have a campaign manager this time around. I've been managing it myself. Yeah, and on top of being mayor, on top of managing my business, on top of Great Lakes St. Lawrence Cities Initiative, Muskegon Lake Watershed Partnership, my NIMS Neighborhood Association, and so it's wearing a lot of hats.
Why? What's the decision there?
It wasn't. There was not a natural, obvious
choice
campaign manager to surface. The person who ran my campaign 4 years ago was not available this time around.
Sure.
I did have a kind of a volunteer coordinator on the primary, but then he ended up taking a job on the east side of the state and left. So haven't had the same administrative leadership structure kind of this time around.
Sure.
But I'm hoping, because I've been doing the work and I've been putting so much time and effort and energy into the work, I'm hoping that will carry the day.
Sure.
And yes, I'm going to be stepping up more than I have been with campaigning, and I have been going door to door, and you've seen signs popping up here and there.
Yep.
What I really love, though, is that the people in our community who do support me for whatever reason, they're vocalizing it and they're sharing it and they're promoting it. And so it's an organic campaign. It's not necessarily me buying advertising and pushing out this message.
Very much.
It's the community speaking for itself, and I'm so fortunate and appreciative of that. But I'm running for a second term as mayor to continue the progress that we've been doing. There's still work to be done. There's still a whole lot more potential to achieve. And there are challenges to overcome.
And it seems like there is some importance to continuity, like, in local government, especially right now, with how much is changing, and so how Muskegon's at a pivotal point of like how we're going to continue the growth, which way we're going to go. And I think that there is some importance to like continuity, right? Like,
Yeah, I think so, because we are doing well. We have a good team at City Hall. We're rowing together. We've got great community partners. Muskegon Public Schools is doing great things, and that was something that was a priority of mine running for mayor, and is building a stronger relationship with Muskegon Public Schools and coordinating and working together, and that's happened during my time as mayor. Even before running for mayor, I was co-chair of the bond campaign in 2020 for the investments, over $100 million invested in Muskegon Public Schools.
And you can see it. I live right next to the high school and the middle school now, and it's almost like a night and day change, from what it looked like just when we moved in just a couple years ago. And so
that's a great new middle school, and investments are happening throughout the district. But what I really love is they've haven't rested on just those investments in their facilities. They've been building on that with curriculum, and they've been just adopted this year the Ford Next Generation Learning Model. They're only the 4th school district in the state to have that learning model. And this fall, they've launched the Innovation Academies of Muskegon. And so they're going to be, that's at the high school, but this Ford Next Generation Learning Model is going to extend throughout every grade. And it's helping our kids and our youth explore not only what Muskegon is and has to offer, but career opportunities for them, and have that mindset of what they want to be and how they want to thrive in adulthood. And so through the Innovation Academies, the school district wants to set up every kid for success in adulthood. And so once they graduate, they know either they're going to college, they've got an apprenticeship lined up, or they're going to skilled trades or some other certification, or they've got a job lined up somewhere. Right. And so they know what they're doing that following week after they get the diploma, and helping them set up for success. And so what I love about that for so many different reasons, particularly me being a big red, but what I really love is that Muskegon Public Schools is now very much feels like it is on the same level as our city in terms of its revitalization, in terms of its renewal, and that we are firing on all cylinders, that we are definitely rowing in the same boat and in the same direction. And
which it's important, because if people are thinking about moving here, what's the number one thing that young families are looking at is the school district and that kind of thing. And so, I think about it a lot with our little one, and so seeing the investment that's been made into the public school system is awesome. And I have family members that work for Muskegon Public Schools, that kind of thing, and it's just been really cool to see that, and like you said, kind of mirroring a little bit the growth that's happening for our city as a whole, so.
Yeah, so that Muskegon Public Schools would be that magnet again, that premium, that pride of our community, and that
my
students
grandparents
want to go there, and they've even seen this year school of choice students from Northern Shores and North Muskegon.
That's amazing.
And so it's nice to see,
both my grandparents graduated from Muskegon, and they talk about it like they're just,
the rich tradition, just
huge,
story of history,
and it's cool, and so it's cool to see, that kind of being I don't know what the right word is, but being built back up again, and so.
Reinvigorated.
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 Reinvigorated. Absolutely.
Be your thesaurus.
All right, Ken, we had a couple more questions for you, but we're going to run out of videotape real here.
Okay. We can always have me back on.
We can have you back on for sure.
Next year after the election.
And I know that the questions that I was going to ask you would be like, would probably double.
We can do a whole episode on the
But so we're just going to finish off now with, unless there's anything else that you explicitly want to talk about your current campaign or anything like that. We just have a couple questions that we always ask at the end of the show. So.
Yeah, I just think it's really important that folks are engaged, whether it's at the city level, state level, federal level, school board level, whatever level. We need folks to be engaged, particularly if we want to preserve and protect and strengthen our democracy. We need people to be engaged.
Absolutely.
Democracy is not a spectator sport.
For sure, you got to be part of it.
Not if you wanted to stay alive and be vibrant.
Yep.
You've got to get involved. You need to be informed. You need to be engaged, and that's so important. So one way or another, and that doesn't always necessarily mean at the government level either.
I was going to say there's a whole spectrum of engagement, right?
Yes.
Caring is number one.
For sure.
Caring is number one.
Caring is number one.
Talking about it is probably number two. But
Brad, who are our last guest.
Brad Hastings.
Is a great example of not really being involved with the government, but being very involved with his community and working to make it a better place.
And he's passionate.
Absolutely.
And he talks about it.
And he talks about
often.
it. Yeah. And he asks his friends to talk about it and the people he's with to talk about it. And so. So yeah.
So be like Brad.
Yes. Be like Brad. Everybody should be like Brad.
Brad's standing in my wedding next year. He's one of my best friends.
Oh, awesome.
What a guy, man. All right, so are we good to go to the final questions here?
Who are you asking? Go for it, dude.
You.
Oh, go ahead.
All right.
Yeah.
There are some real ball busters. It's going to get down and dirty. No, I'm just kidding. So we always just ask, something that me and Fruch are really into is food, checking out the different restaurants in town, the new stuff, all the old stuff. We always ask, what's your favorite legacy restaurant in Muskegon?
We should add something to this, and what do you order from there?
And what do you order? We usually ask, what's your favorite and current, legacy and current. I won't ask you to pick a favorite current restaurant because I don't want,
Just out of fairness.
Yeah, out of fairness. So what's your favorite restaurant that no longer exists, but like from when you were a kid?
Okay, no longer is okay. Because I struggle with favorites in general.
For sure.
Like, I have a hard time saying this is my favorite in any regard.
For sure.
If you could bring back
and especially it would be difficult to have me pick a favorite
like what's
restaurant right
like
now.
a meal that you can't get anymore that you wish you could.
I mean, this isn't a restaurant, but I would say it was my Aunt Jan's chicken and dumplings.
Okay.
She had phenomenal. And speaking of chicken and dumplings, I will say too, and it's going to be back, but Occidental Eats had some really good chicken and dumplings. That was Chef Eric's family recipe, and now that Love Cafe has opened up there. He's the chef there, and if you haven't checked out,
we haven't yet.
Check it out.
It's on the list for sure.
Dining with dignity. There's no price menu. You pay what you can afford, and he's curates the menu and provides mentorship. And so he said that this fall he'll be having his soup line and chicken dumplings back.
There you go.
I'll get a chance to have his chicken dumplings again. But yes,
that's a great answer. All right, I like
so
that.
good.
I like that. I miss when they were, being right across the street before we had food. I think he had like a chicken salad that I was like always getting. So I miss them, and I'm so excited for them to be back, especially in this very unique iteration of what they're doing over there.
We should have them on the show and try some food.
That would be
you
cool,
can do
man.
the show over there.
We could do it over
we're
there.
mobile. We can do the show anywhere.
That'd be sweet. Yeah.
Bring me by it, but I'll be an observer. I'll be a second. I'll eat the chicken and dumpling while you're interviewing
You can do
Chef
video
Eric.
work with Joey. You guys can be back there eating the dumplings. Yeah. The last one, most important one, is just what do you love most about Muskegon? And you can say more than one thing, but
one word.
What's your favorite one word? Yeah.
I mean, there's just so much to love about Muskegon. It really is truly magnificent, and we've got just amazing cultural assets. We are punching above our weight in the cultural assets that we have here in Muskegon, from Muskegon Museum of Art to our county museum to Hackling Hume Home to Hackling Public Library, the Symphony. There's cultural assets here are so above
Rich.
above what you would expect from a community our size.
Sure.
Yep.
Sure.
And so I love our culture assets, our natural resources. The beauty of this area is phenomenal. But what I'd say is our greatest asset, and what I love so much about this place, are the people.
Yep.
It truly is the people. And people that are willing to work together, help their neighbors out, support one another. That spirit that we were talking about of that collaboration
with the greatest
and camaraderie.
goal in mind, right?
Helping one another out.
It's interesting because that is sort of the answer we've gotten from pretty much everybody.
We're picking the right people.
Yeah, but I think it's like this kind of through line of there's like a general kind of idea here that like there's something like very unique that we all possess being residents of this city, and it's kind of up to everybody that lives here to take it seriously to kind of move that forward. And I think that you can see it in a lot of talent, and I can't really speak to this, I don't know if any of us really can, but I don't know if it's that way everywhere, and
Sure.
But it just seems like people are very proud of being from here and also being part of being from here,
I think that's the beauty of being a small, big town.
For sure. Absolutely.
You can see that. It's a tangible thing that you can grasp.
Yep.
If you pay attention, if you open your eyes.
But yeah, it's interesting that, and it's such a great answer, and it's something that has been a through line with, not everybody's answered the exact same way, but it seems like that's kind of like a general consensus of what a lot of people that live here and are from here really, really love about here, and
We've got good, caring people and talented people.
talented people that care, that are willing to put their talents towards to use, and so.
Well, I just want to thank you for coming on and chatting with two schmucks like us. I know there's things we still want to talk about, so we should have you back on not too far from now.
Yeah.
But for listener fatigue, we're almost an hour and a half in, so I just want to thank you for coming on, man. It's been great chatting with you for sure.
Yeah. My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you both.
Thanks, Joey.
Thanks, Joey.
Love you, man. Appreciate you. Can't wait to vote for you.
You've been listening to What's Going On podcast, brought to you by Josh and me.
What's going on?
What's going on?